Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi.
How are you? We'll get started in just a second. So what do you all think of this new daylight savings? Do you like it?
I like I like the evenings, but not the mornings.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. Yeah, exactly. I guess it depends if you're kind of like a morning lark or a night owl. But I'm definitely usually a night owl. If I'm a morning lark, it's because I'm still up from the night before. I like it. I'm glad that it's this one that they decided to stick with instead of the fallback one. But yeah, it was an interesting. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of interesting. It's weird to me that like midnight will now come at 1 a.m. or whatever for like half the year. Like it's just weird to me, the labeling of the times, you know, and then to agree to shift them all by an hour, like the conventions involved, like the social conventions. Yeah, it's weird, but funny, kind of cool. Yes. Oh, sure. Yeah. What's up? Oh, yeah. Okay. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah. Let's definitely make sure to check back in about that. Hi. Welcome to everyone in Zoom and on campus. Oh, Manisha, do you have, is now a good time for a reminder about ASC sessions?
So hello everyone, good morning. Today's SI session would be at ASC from 1 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then general tutoring hours are on, hold on, let me just write it so I don't mess it up. Yeah, so general tutoring hours are on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. and on Tuesday and Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Manisha.
Report in progress.
So I'm just sharing your screen. And oh, feedback again. Let's see, what's that? Okay, I was just testing something. Didn't work. I'm still trying to figure out the microphone situation. Yeah, the echo. Yeah, I don't know what is picking up my voice other than my phone. I don't. It might be this computer. But it says I'm on mute. Oh. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry. I was listening to my own Zoom call on the computer, and then since my phone's like right next to it, okay, that was the feedback. Okay. Sorry, everyone. Thanks, Manisha. That's okay. Perfect. So, uh, um, let's go ahead and get started. The starter file is in the homepage of our Canvas course, and it's the same one as last time actually, but we'll just be working on the third worksheet in there. So I'll just search for specialized functions, but the full file name is EO7 specialized functions.xlsx. There are two in there, so I guess I should like rename the other ones so that folks, so I don't confuse anyone. And okay, so it's EO7 specialized functions.
So could we use the file that we saved from Monday as well, so that we've got it all in one place? Or
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's even better. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, if you have the file saved for Monday, yeah, definitely. Yeah, go ahead and feel free to use that. Nice. Yeah. So if you open that file in Excel, go ahead and just switch straight away to the third worksheet in there, 3-finance. And here's where we said so an amortization table is for when you take out a loan, you see, you agree beforehand how many payments you're going to make, or basically like what the terms of the loan are, like how long the loan is in years, and then if you're going to make like monthly payments, and then for this loan, it's a 4-year loan, and there are 12 payments per year, so looks like monthly payments. So they're going to be 48 payments total. And the amortization table just keeps things straight for each of those payment periods. So that's the idea here. The amortization table will tell us for each of those payment periods what our payment is, and it's going to be the same for every payment period. But we're also going to be keeping track of how much of that payment is going to go to interest versus the principal. So the principal is just like the amount of the loan, not counting interest. So just like the amount that you take out for the loan. And as we pay back the loan, period after period, more and more is going to go to the principal, and less and less is going to go to the interest. So we'll take a look in this worksheet at exactly how that all plays out for this specific, example loan here. So the idea from last time, remember we work at All Good Fabrics.
Professor, the microphone
for this one,
coming in and out, so I don't know if you're moving. As you're moving, I don't know if it's sometimes you can hear, sometimes you can't.
oh, whoops. Sorry. I'll try to keep it more steady. Yeah. But definitely let me know. Yeah, if I fade out or anything. Yeah, thanks for the feedback. So the idea for this one is the supervisors are getting new cars. The company can afford a $500 monthly payment based on a 5.5% APR for 4-year loans. And we'd like to prepare a loan amortization table and running totals for interest and principal repayment. So let's start off by calculating the present value of the loan. So what's kind of interesting about this example, how it differs from the previous examples, is here we start off by knowing the monthly payment, $500, before we knew the loan amount, and we were using our payment function to calculate the monthly payment. But here, kind of going the other way around. So from the payment amount, we actually want to calculate the loan amount. So we'll be calculating the present value of the loan. Let's start with E3, cell E3. And who can give us the periodic rate? Like a formula for it.
APR divided by 12.
Perfect. Awesome. So we're going to go equals APR. So that's cell B3 divided by the 12 for payments per year. And then just press enter. Now for the number of payments, does anyone want to come up with a formula for that in cell E5? Or sorry, E4
times B5.
Nice, equals B4 times B5. Perfect. Nice. So this calculation kind of confirms our first look that there are 48 payments. So that's an awesome formula, awesome calculations here, everyone. Now let's go ahead and click cell E2. Click Financial in the Function Library group on the Formulas tab. Scroll through the list and then select PV. Click cell E3 to enter that cell reference in the rate box. Click in the N per box. That stands for number of periods, so like the number of payment periods, and then click cell E4. And then in the payment box, PMT, go ahead and type in negative B2, or you could type in the minus sign and then just click B2. But either way, that's where payment's going to go, and make sure to make it negative so we end up with a positive loan amount. And then just click OK. So it looks like this would be a $21,499.39 loan. What kind of cars are about that? I know cars are getting more expensive, but is that like a sedan? A Ford sedan? That sounds nice. Yeah, I think that's totally in that price range. Totally, yeah. So next up, let's enter our formulas in the amortization table. So let's start by clicking cell B8. And this is our beginning balance for payment number 1. And just go ahead and type in equals E2. Just a reference to our, our loan amount, and then press tab. Type equals $2 into cell C8. Just a reference to the monthly payment. And then, believe it or not, let's press Control Enter here. And then let's use the fill handle to copy the payment down the column ending in cell C55. So just like monthly payments are, just the same lifetime.
Your audio is cutting out again, Professor.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. I was just saying the monthly payments are just like we kind of expected, are staying the same throughout the lifetime of the loan. Thanks for letting me know, by the way. So next up, go ahead and type in equals IPMT in cell D8. That's not right. Oh, sorry. Wow, I don't know. Okay, sorry, I that wasn't cell D8. Okay, the interest paid, cell D8 for the first payment is what we want to calculate now. And to do that, go ahead and let's use the iPayment function, or IPMT function. So that's just a matter of typing in equals IPMT in cell D8. And then I like to always open the parentheses and then press tab. Oh, whoops. But in this case, I shouldn't have. Equals IPMT. This is press tab. Okay, there's our parentheses. And then press the F of X button. And then the F of X button, by the way, is called the insert function button. Go ahead and type $3 for the rate. AH for period per, So that means we're calculating the interest payment for the first payment period. So that's why we put an A8 for per. Yeah. And it's also why we're not putting in like an absolute or mixed cell reference, because we do want to allow the period to change period number 2, 3, 4, and so on as we drag this formula down with the fill handle. N per, that is going to be 48, and that one's not changing, so it's just going to be $4. So a reference to that 48, but with the fixed, mixed cell reference. I mean, and negative $2 for the present value. So almost exactly like our PMT function, except we put in like a specific, a particular payment period that we want. And we're going to see how much of our payment is going to interest for that payment period. But the other arguments are really pretty similar. I'll go ahead and click OK. And use the fill handle to copy the function down the rest of the column. So I'm just going to double click the fill handle in this one, because when there's like full cells to the left, like immediately adjacent to the fill handle, then the fill handle will just go all the way to those ones. Except actually I went a little too far and filled in the value. So I'm gonna, filled in this last row. So actually I probably should have just dragged down the fill handle. Sorry. I don't know why that happened, but okay. And can someone interpret what's happening with the interest as time goes on?
It's less.
Yeah, it's less, exactly. Yeah, cool. So so as we pay off our loan, towards the beginning, more of our payments, more like a bigger fraction of our payments going towards interest, but less and less each time. Well, how about the principal repayment? So go ahead and click cell H8. Oh, sorry.
Excuse me, Professor.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just getting a bunch of like hashtag numbers in my when I tried to fill it up. Like so I mean for my rate I have $3. For my per or my next value I have A8. Then I have $, or E4, and then I have negative $2. And I filled it and it didn't go through.
You have $4 for the number of periods?
No, I have E4.
Okay, I would throw in a $sign before the 4. Just because that reference to the 48 over here it's not changing when we drag down our formulas. Like the 48 is always in cell E4. So I would
Okay, that worked. Yeah.
Nice, cool.
Thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
why did you say? Wait, sorry. Why did you say use the $sign for?
Oh yeah. So if you don't, so like let me just kind of pretend like I didn't put in the $sign. And then I'll drag this down. It works for the first one, so that's cool. But what's going to happen to our formula when we drag down, by one row? Well, now the formula is saying do the interest payment for what the formula thinks is the number of periods in
E5, and there's nothing there.
No, there's nothing there. Yeah, exactly. So we have to fix the cell reference at 4. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And that'll be pretty much the case for the principal repayment as well. So in cell E8, type in equals PMT for principal payment. And then press tab. And then click the insert function button. So does someone want to take a stab at filling these in?
So on the rate, you put E3, you could do a mixed cell reference with the $ after the E. The period is going to be A8. NPER is going to be E4, again with the number or mixed cell reference. The PV is just going to be that E2 mixed cell.
Nice. Oh, good. And should we do the E2? Yeah. Yeah, good call. Okay, so for E2, for the present value, I threw in a $ and made it negative. Anything else that like we need to put in for this one? One quick way to check our work would be to look at what Excel like kind of previews the calculation to be, $401.46. And we know the interest paid for that first period is $98.54. So just like adding those up would give us the monthly payment. And that's exactly what should happen for the interest and the principal for each period. When you add them up, you should get the total monthly payment. Or in other words, like each monthly payment just consists of the interest paid and the principal, you know, being repaid. Yeah, I would just click OK here, and here's our first payments, like amount that goes towards the principal. Which would be $401.46. And again, let's use the fill handle to copy the function down the rest of the column. And for each period, does it look like the total will add up to 500? One trick I can tell you as well, if you just select like any two cells and then look in the bottom, label, the little panel here, you'll see like a preview of the sum. And it looks like for all the payment periods, if we just select the principal amount and the interest amount, we'll get 500. So just checking our work along the way.
Professor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, can you do that one more time for principal repayment? Because I've got the first value of $401.46, but for some reason, when I try to drag it down for the whole column, it doesn't let me. It just says value and then a lot of zeros.
Oh, you know, it might be one of the mixed cell references. I would make sure that like before the 3 in rate and before the 4 in N per, yeah, and the 2 in P in present value, that you have a $.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Yeah, give that a try and see how it goes. And if you get stuck or have any other questions, just let me know. We can definitely take a look.
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, did it work out? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice. Glad to hear it. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Okay, next up, click in cell F8 and type in equals, and then start with a formula for ending balance. Yes, Anna. Yeah, exactly. E8 minus E8. Cool. Okay, so we started off with this amount in B8. At the beginning of that payment period, but then we paid our $401.46 towards the principal. So our ending balance is B8 minus E8. Nice. And now go ahead and click in cell B9. 9. And isn't it true that the beginning balance for the second payment is going to be the ending balance from the first payment? So let's put in a reference to cell F8 right here for the beginning balance of payment number 2, which is in cell B9. And then go ahead and press Control Enter. And use the fill handle to copy the cell reference in cell B9 down the rest of the column. I know they just say zeros now, but that's okay. That's because we haven't gotten the ending balance for the rest of the payment periods, but what we've done is tried to set up the formula at least to say that the beginning balance for each period is the ending balance from the previous period. So now go ahead and click cell F8 and use the fill handle to copy that formula down, ending in cell F55. Okay, so now the beginning balance gets filled in for each payment. The ending balance gets filled in for each payment, and we can see that once the 48th payment is made, then our ending balance goes to 0. So that's good. We've paid off the loan. And that's how every amortization table should end. So now let's go ahead and total like columns C, D, and E. So go ahead and type sum functions in cell C56, D56, and E56. So who wants to give us a sum function for cell C56?
I could try.
Yes.
If you go under the home tab, there should be an auto sum in the very right near the sort and filter, and you want to click that. Well, I guess you want to highlight the table and then click that button.
Okay, sounds good.
Highlight the columns you want summed up.
Like this?
Yeah, and then hit the auto sum.
Okay, cool. Nice. Awesome. And I'm going to expand the columns, but that looks great. Nice. That's a really cool way to do that. I like that. Thanks, Liam. Nice work. So how about for cell, oh, whoops, I'm sorry, I selected E column. That's my fault. Whoops, I'm gonna try the same thing again, but just in the right place. So sorry, it was supposed to be for the C column. So you said select like all the payments in the column and then go auto sum.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice approach. So 24,000 looks like the sum of the monthly payments. Same thing for D, the D column. I like that way of doing it. So Liam selected all the dollar amounts in the D column and then went auto sum. Nice. We see the sum right there. Those were for the interest amounts. And then do you want to try the same approach or something different for column E?
Another approach you could do is equal sum and then highlight it.
Nice. Equal sum, and then we'll just select that range for, or highlight that range for the argument of things to sum. Sounds good.
I quite like if you click into the cell and press auto sum, it automatically picks up the numbers above you. So if you're just in that cell and you click auto sum without actually highlighting, you don't have to highlight. It highlights everything above that's a number. So you just have to check it's selected the correct range. But as long as it's selected the correct range, then that just highlights that in the quicker way sometimes.
Whoa, I love these. Okay, these are great. Yes, I love how quick and creative all these are. These are great ways to do these. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Any other ways that people are using?
I did also drag across using the drag handle rather than having to recreate the sum every time. If you click in the, so if you hadn't filled them in and you clicked on the first one and then picked the drag handle up in the bottom corner, it copies the sum of the same column above, transfers it over. So you don't have to keep doing it on every column. That can be quite a quick way as well.
Nice. Awesome. Oh, that's cool. Okay, cool. So what would normally be like, could be like 3 steps or, take a while. Yeah, you figured out a way to do it really, really efficiently. That's great. Nice. Cool. Okay, so last thing to do here before we calculate the cumulative interest is to select the range A56 to F56. And apply the top and double bottom border format. So I think that's just a matter of going into the borders menu by clicking the little arrow next to the icon for borders, which looks like a square divided into 4 with kind of some of the lines are kind of dashed, but the bottom one's solid. And it was a top and double bottom border. Top and double bottom border. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and save the workbook. And now let's calculate the cumulative interest. So in other words, as we make payments on our loan, how much of it has gone towards interest like up to that point. So that's why it's cumulative interest instead of just the interest paid for each period. Each period it's the like the running total of all the interest paid. So that's going to be in cell H8 to start. Go ahead and click in cell H8 and then click financial in the functions library group in the formulas tab. And then select cumulative interest payment, QMyPMT. And type the following arguments in the function arguments dialog box. So it's going to be a $3 for the rate. The N per box, it's going to be $2. So these are just like mixed cell references to our rate from before, that periodic rate that we calculated and the number of payments that we calculated. Oh, whoops, E2, sorry. I'm just looking at the right here and I see, okay, no, we didn't say that there's gonna be 21,499 payments. I think that's a lot of months. Sounds like too many. So let's see, N per should actually be E $, what? For, yeah, good call, exactly, nice. And then for PV, that one is gonna be E $2. And I'll be honest, I kind of struggle to understand why there's like whether we should make this negative or not, but we shouldn't. So let's just remember for cumulative interest payment, okay, don't make the present value negative. But if we did, I think it would be an easy fix to just take the negative of the result, and then have that be, like our fix if we put in the negative there. So kind of tricky when to put in the negatives here. But let's go for the start period now. So remember the cumulative interest, it's like the interest paid over a number of payment periods. In this case, our start period is A8, and when we drag this formula down, we don't want our start period to change to like the second payment period or anything. We always want our start period to be a reference to A8, just that, one, payment number one. And then the end period, though, we do want to change as we drag the cells down. So that's gonna kind of be our trick for calculating the cumulative interest is our start period stays the same at 1, but our end period goes, from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, all the way to 48. As we go, row by row down. So the end period is going to be just a reference to A8, but this time without the $sign. So then we drag it down, that becomes A9, ending in period 2, A10, ending in period 3, and so on. And now make sure to drag the scroll bar down. Because there is an argument that is required that is called type at the very end. And we're just going to enter in 0 in the type box.
What does the 0 do in this scenario?
Oh, okay, good question. So it tells us whether we're taking the cumulative interest at the end of this payment period or the beginning of it.
And 0 is the beginning, or is 0 the end?
I think 0 is the end, actually.
Yeah, because when it's completely paid off.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and type in okay here. Or I'll press okay. Let me just make sure this is right. Sorry. Okay. $3 for the rate. Okay, looks good. $4 for the periods. $2 for the present value. $8 for the start period. And A8, no $sign for the end period. And then the type argument. Yeah, let's go with 0 here and press okay. And now in this next step, we're supposed to edit the function by typing a minus sign between the equals and the C, you know, like the function name, to convert the results to a positive value. Oh yeah, Hannah. Oh yeah, good call. Oh. Oh, yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, nice. And I'll even show you if we drag this all the way down to A55. Yeah, this is your formula right here, I bet. The cumulative interest after the 55th, or I'm sorry, after the 48th payment. Yeah. And that's a really, really good way to check our work, because yeah, shouldn't the cumulative interest calculation after the 48th period be the same as the, you know, the sum of all the interest payments? Okay, so that's why H55 and D56 come out the same. So yeah, that's a really good observation and a good like insight into like how the cumulative interest function works. Yeah.
Did you say we had to put a negative somewhere?
Yeah, so it was right here in cell H8 for the cumulative interest payment formula between the equal sign and the name of the formula. I just stuck in a negative, like, yeah, minus sign here.
Is that to get rid of the parentheses?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, because the parentheses in accounting format mean a negative number. So and our oh, I guess we could poke around and answer some questions. So yeah, if we didn't put the negative sign in there, then we'd end up right with the parentheses indicating a negative. So if we put in the 1 here, just kind of curious. So, you know, someone's question from before, I think Liam's question from before, why the 1? The 1 means for the cumulative amount to be calculated at the beginning of the period. So we haven't paid any interest, you know, before the first period, at the beginning of the first period. So the 1's gonna give us 0 for the, you know, if we put that in for the first period. I'll just change it back to 0 here. So we're calculating the interest at the end of each period. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the cumulative principal amount. Click side A, click financial in the function library group, and then select cumulative principal payment, or cumulative prints. cum prints. So you remember before we had the IPMT and the PPMT functions. Now we have the cumulative IPMT and the cumulative prints functions. Same arguments as before. The rate. Whoops, I scrolled down. Let me go ahead and go up here. The rate is a reference to E3, and we'll put in the dollar sign there. The number of payments is a reference to E4, again with the dollar sign. The present value, it's just a reference to E2. And let's put in the dollar sign there as well. The start period, same as before, we always want to start in period 1, so we'll put in the $8 but then we want to end in whatever period, you know, that our formula is in the row of. So in this case, A8, but we'll drag that down to become the later periods. And then type, let's put in 0 again. And then click OK. This one's going to come out as negative, but no worries. We'll just put a minus sign between the equals and the function name. And then just press enter. And then cell I8. We're going to want to copy the formula through cell I55. All right, and now let's go ahead and save the workbook. How exciting. So a lot of progress on our amortization table. I think it's all set. We should probably interpret it, you know, spend a little time interpreting it. So we have all of our payments that we're going to make, all 48 of them. We're seeing the beginning balance at each of those payment periods, and also what our monthly payment will be, and a breakdown of how much of that will go towards the interest and the principal. And we're also seeing our ending balance for each period in the loan, which was just our beginning balance minus however much we paid off towards the principal. We calculated the cumulative interest, you know, along the way, and the cumulative principal along the way. By the way, when we get to the end of the cumulative principal, doesn't it make sense that we would have paid back the loan amount? So that's our you know, another like equivalence here. That's like a good way to check, you know, check the totals. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to point out, someone mentioned interest paid was going down. How about the amount towards the principal? will kind of just like we anticipated, as time goes on, more and more of our payment is allowed to go towards the principal. Yeah, so that's what happens when we take out a loan, and you know, make payments. Any questions about any of that? Okay, cool. Well, nice work, everyone. So let's go ahead and turn things over to lab time for the last bit of class till 12:35, and I'll stick around for 10 minutes as well if you have questions, you know, for me, like you know, afterwards, any of our homework. Other than that, I think that's it. So definitely let me know as you work through the chapters if anything comes up. I'm happy to talk through any issues in the sections for the Excel material as well as the MIS material. So I hope those are all going well. I think they are. I checked recently. The MIS stuff seems to be going really, really well. So I was really pleased to see that. And yeah, keep up the good work. And thanks, everyone.
Hi, Professor. I do have a question if no one else has one at the moment.
Yes,
on the homework, I've completed up to using the cumulative principle, and the next thing on there is count function. Is that something you're going to cover in the next lesson? Because I can stop there and not go any further if that's the case. The count if function.
Oh, count if. There's we talk about it. Yeah, there's nothing in my like my lecture script that is planned out for it, but it's super easy to understand. Like if you have a bunch of I'm just gonna put a bunch of C's and X's here. And I'm gonna make a count if function. And let's say I just wanted to count all the C's, like, you know, in my little, you know, 7 cell, like that example in column A. If I just wanted to know, like, okay, how many C's are in there? Then you would just go equals count if. And then in parentheses, the range. So that's this whole, you know, deal here, A1 to A7. And then for the criteria, it's kind of crazy, but the whole criteria goes in double quotes. And then the criteria is that like something in our range equals C. So that's what we want to count if that's the case.
Okay. Yeah, I looked in the notes about count if, and that's really helpful, actually, what you've just shown. However, in the actual homework, it wants you to use a greater than symbol. And even though I did that in the quotations, it didn't seem to work out unless, and I went through to Manisha actually, and we worked out that it had to be an ampersand sign outside of the quotations in order to make the equation work. So I didn't understand what the ampersand symbol was actually doing, if that makes sense. Because it was a greater than symbol rather than just an equals the number count. So it had to be an equation of interest that was greater than an amount in the count if. It was quite yeah.
So there actually we had to refer. Sorry. Yeah, so there we had to refer to the cell instead of here we using equal to C, right, as a criteria. But in the homework, we had to compare it with value in another cell.
Yes. Yes. So is that what the and symbol means? It's comparing it to a value in another cell. Is that what the ampersand means?
No, not really, not as far as I know.
Okay.
I'm curious about this ampersand.
So was
Because what I thought was like, if you,
I. So was I.
I'm gonna do mine. I want to try just like another bad example, but this time just with just with the list of numbers, so that like the um greater than comparison, you know, like so that's it's possible to like see if something's greater than or less than um a certain number. And let's just pick like 40. Let's see how many of these are greater than 40. So I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
that's exactly
what if we
I
had a
did, yeah.
countif formula with this range, but our criteria was that we were seeing where that range is greater than 40. Yeah, so I'm not used to using the ampersand with this, but I can tell you that with just numerical values, you should be able to put in a greater than or less than, you know, relational operator in the quotes for the countif,
So when you
just like this. With
did you type 40 in, or did you select a cell reference?
I just typed it in.
Okay, so I think that might be the difference, is that I was using a cell reference. I don't know, but
Oh,
because you were it was using a particular, but I suppose it is a set number, but I was putting the cell reference in there and it didn't work out. So if you put in cell reference, so for example, there was a 40 sitting in a table somewhere else, and you're saying anything that's over this cell reference of 40.
yeah. Oh, I see. Like if
Yeah.
so, I'll change the 40 to like B3.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And yeah, Manisha, any thoughts about that?
Yes, so I was working with Yuto later in the evening, and we tried, Yuto came up with the idea of actually putting the value, which they have mentioned in the cell D4, Lisa.
Oh,
So
okay.
that actually worked, but we couldn't try to figure out why the cell reference wasn't working exactly.
Mm-hmm. So actually put the value.
So replacing the cell reference by the actual value, which is there in the D4.
Okay. So you do greater than, and then type the amount that you want it to be greater than.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And then close the quotations. Okay. Okay, so it needs to be the value as opposed to a cell reference in the formula.
I think you're right. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
If anyone figures out a way to put in a reference to a cell instead of just a numerical value, like a literal like numerical value inside a countif formula, yeah, let us know. I think we'd all like to see that. That could
you
be really
try it?
cool.
Actually, could you try it on the one you have there, because it used the
Yeah.
ampersand. So what it had was you had the quotations just around the greater than symbol, and then see if it works, and then you do an ampersand and then the cell reference.
Whoa. Like
And
that?
yeah. Yeah.
Whoa,
That gives you-
cool.
So the ampersand
Oh, I like
is
that.
denoting that you can use a cell reference, but it has to be outside of the quotations by the look of it, as opposed to
Whoa, that's cool.
Okay. I think I've got it.
Yeah.
Now. Thank you. That makes
Nice, Lisa. Thank you. I learned something just now. Cool.
Yeah, it's quite
That's
difficult because that's in the homework. So it's like that we haven't covered count if, and when you look in the notes, it only gives you, as you showed as an example, the equals to count if, as opposed to using a greater than symbol. So that's why I think I was getting confused. But that's really helpful. Thank you for that.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm glad it worked out. Sorry, I'm embarrassed. Yeah, that's I'm glad you brought that up.
No, that's really, really helpful. Thanks for going through it.
Oh, thanks, Lisa.
We're working for chapter 7, correct?
Chapter 7. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I just mentioned this in class, but I should say it to everyone. The chapter 10 assignments, which are due on April 15th, I haven't finalized those yet. So if you just could please hold off on starting those. I'm going to swap out the grader assignment for chapter 10 most likely. So just a note on kind of what's coming up for those for the next and final Excel chapter. But hopefully soon, hopefully this week or next week, I'll make the switch so that when we finish chapter 7, we can just hit the ground running with chapter 10. And for those of you at home, if you were following along with what I was saying about the chapter 10 assignments, I just went in and made the switch. So if you want to start on the chapter 10 stuff, you should be all set. But there's plenty of time before they're due. You know, if you are ready to get going on it, yeah, of course, that's you know, you'd be more than welcome to. So yeah, you're welcome. Okay, thanks everyone for a great week and wonderful input. Thank you so much. And have a great weekend and see you on Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. See y'all next time. Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Professor,
See you, Austin. Yeah, bye. See ya. Thanks, Sydney. Yes.
if no one else has any questions, I was wondering if I could talk to you about the what was this? This was chapter 5, the real estate one.
Yeah, of course. No problem.
So I just decided I would, restart it just because I wasn't even sure where I left off last time. But so I was working my way through, and then I'm trying to subtotal the data, but I'm having a hard time trying to remember how to use this feature exactly.
Yeah, I'll check in Manisha's. Oh,
I just logged out. I have to log in.
oh, you logged out.
So, did you continue at the site?
Oh, do you mean you can help with this one? Oh, it's up to you. Either way, Manisha can help you with this one, Liam. We just have to figure out. Now we're at the SI session at 1. It's up to you. Yeah, I'll let the both of you talk about it.
Yeah. Liam, would you be comfortable coming to SI session today?
Sure, yeah. Also, it's Nick, it's not Liam. So you're not
Oh,
confused.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll start at 1.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. No, that's perfect. Oh, and the
And-
link is in the chat, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah, you can also find it on Canvas page of CISC 181.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll see you then.
Yeah,
Alright.
sure. Thank you.
All right,
See
thank
there.
you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks. Great idea to go to the SI session. And thanks to both of you. Yeah. Anything else? Anyone? I guess it's just me in here. Okay, I'll sign off. Bye. Thanks.